all of it is Republican Senator Marco Rubio. He is on the Senate Intel Committee. Senator, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Good morning.
ISIS has just claimed responsibility online, at least, for this horrific attack last night at the Ariana Grande concert. Is there anything the U.S. can do if this turns out to be a lone wolf attack? What is the answer?
Yeah, and I think we have to be cautious about the term lone wolf. It makes it sound like some guy just went off on his own and did this. This clearly inspired by them. I mean, this is the kind of attack they've been calling for, and you're going to see more of these sorts of attempts as they lose territory. Their ability to actually coordinate an attack, send somebody over there with specific plans, continues to erode. Their ability to inspire people online and give specific instructions and ideas. These are the kinds of ideas they're putting out there in their publication. And they're telling people, find soft targets, kill as many people as you can, be willing to die in the operation. So obviously I think the eradication, going after their ability to continue to inspire online is a key part of our effort. But ultimately, and there's got to be a rejection of this sort of ideology, and that's an ongoing effort, and I think part of what the president is endeavoring to do in this trip beginning in Saudi Arabia.
The president, as you know, is in Israel this morning, and he's talking about attempting a peace process. So let me just play for you what President Trump has said about this.
The Palestinians are ready to reach for peace. I know you've heard it before. I am telling you, that's what I do. They are ready to reach for peace.
Do you think that it will be, President Trump has suggested at times, this is what he does, it will be easier than people think?
Well, it won't be easier. And look, I think it's a noble endeavor. Every American president has tried it, and there's a reason why it doesn't happen. And let me say the Israelis would love to have peace. The problem, the fundamental issue we have here is the definition of peace. Everyone says they want peace. How do you define peace? If peace means that Israel can no longer retain its nature as a Jewish state, if peace means they have to give up control of Jerusalem, if that's peace, that's not peace. That's not going to happen. So from the Palestinian end, I would just say from the Palestinian leadership, because the Palestinian people I have no quarrel with, but from the Palestinian leadership's perspective, I don't think their definition of peace fits within what most of us, at least here in Congress and in the United States, would define as peace. And that's always been the problem. And I think it's a very noble endeavor. I think the White House and the president needs to be careful that in an effort to make things better, we end up making things worse. And it is my view the conditions for the sort of peace we would all desire do not exist. And therefore, we need to try to begin to create those conditions, more prosperity, more security in Judea and Samaria, and then ultimately reach a point where there is the opportunity to go further. But again, look, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that there is an agreement that everyone can live with. I truly do, but I'm not very optimistic.
Senator, let's talk about what's going on here at home and the Russia probe. U.S. officials have told CNN that not only did President Trump press then FBI Director Comey to publicly state that he saw no collusion, he also pressed the directors of National Security Agency and National Intelligence to do the same. How serious is this to you?
Well, we have to confirm that that's what actually happened, and I'm not disputing that it did. If it does, I would say to you that it goes further, in my mind, as a member of the Intelligence Committee, than just a focus on the Russia investigation. I think it goes into the very nature of the intelligence community's work and its ability to work with the executive branch and the presidency. So I think the first step here, my understanding is that both Admiral Rogers and Director Coates are on the Hill today testifying. I know for a fact they're going to be asked this question in a public forum. We'll see what they say. I can guarantee you the intelligence community, the intelligence committee that I sit on, which has oversight over these intelligence agencies that they run, will be asking this question. And for me, the fundamental question is, did this happen? And if so, what impact has it had on the intelligence community's ability to work with the president? And by the way, related to that are these leaks that are coming out. And again, I understand that the public wants to know, but I also think we have an environment now in the executive branch where the president and the people around them are potentially cautious or afraid because they don't know what they don't trust the people around them. They know someone in that room or someone in that building is leaking things to the press, sometimes selectively. Yeah. So we've got a broader issue here, and that is the ability of the intelligence community to function for its most important client, the President of the United States.
But is it an obstruction of justice in your mind? If this happened as reported, is it an obstruction of justice?
Well, I think that's a legal question I'm not prepared to opine on, simply because I don't know all the facts behind this. I know what the press report says, but for me, as someone who's sitting on the Intelligence Committee, it's important for me to not go in and be making public pronouncement. That's what got Chairman Nunes in trouble and had to recuse himself. And I'm not criticizing him because he's a good guy who I think was trying to do a good job. But in my mind, our job, and that's why most of the members of the Intelligence Committee are so cautious about what they say. It's not that we're trying to evade it. It's that we don't want there to be any doubt when we issue our report that we took our work seriously, that we didn't go in with any preconceived notions, that we weren't influenced solely by what was being purported in the press, but that we looked at the facts and reported them as facts. I don't want there to be an Intelligence Committee report that sits out there and people doubt. We cannot afford to have, an open question here for years to come about what truly happened. Yeah. But suffice it to say that we want to know all the facts, we want to lay them out for the American people, and then I think we can make clear judgments on what happened or did not happen. That's really important for the country. The sooner the better.
Senator, every day there seems to be some sort of new bombshell. I mean, for lack of a better word, whether it's calling the director of the FBI publicly a nut job, whether it's divulging classified information to the Russians, every day there is something that grips the news cycle and I would assume keeps lawmakers from sort of getting their jobs done. Is this what you expected? I mean, I know that you said recently, what did people expect when they hired Donald Trump, when they voted for Donald Trump? This is how he ran his campaign. But is this the level of what you expected?
I'm not sure. I can tell you that he's not a politician. That's pretty clear. And so he's not operating by the conventional rules that presidents have up to this point. And we knew that. That's what I meant by the campaign. He didn't run a conventional campaign. He didn't campaign as a politician. And he's not he's not president as a politician. And there are aspects of that that are very positive. So clearly, I have said publicly, I think the White House needs to systemize a little bit and get a little bit more conventional, and that includes the president. But I would also say, and related to this, I think we also have to begin to talk a little bit about the people within the executive branch that are leaking some of this information. There are appropriate venues in which to do that. They can bring that to the Intelligence Committee. They can bring that to law enforcement. Again, I'm not criticizing whistleblowers, but I do think we have an issue now, and that is, if I'm sitting in the Oval Office, if I'm sitting there working for the president, I'm worried about what I'm saying, and so are foreign leaders. They're concerned that their words are going to be leaked out by someone in the room they can't trust. And that's a big problem, too. It begins to impede our ability to conduct national security in a way that's good for the country. So we've got a lot of moving pieces here. This is less than ideal, obviously. There's a big problem. And hopefully we can begin to turn the corner here. And part of it is the fact-finding and the report the Intelligence Committee, I'm confident, will produce.
But
is it what I expected? I don't know if anybody knew what to expect, to be honest with you. But the president's not a politician, and I think you're seeing the good of that, and I think you're seeing some of the side problems that come with that, too.
But are you making an appeal right now to the people inside the White House who you just used the term whistleblowers, to come and speak to your committee?
Well, I think if someone has information that they believe is damaging to the country, their first option should be to follow the proper authorities, whether it's the general counsel or the oversight within your own agency. That exists there now, where there are all sorts of independent individuals within the CIA, for example, and other intelligence branches where people can go. And there's also the opportunity to produce information to the committees that are looking at all of this. Look, I am not here to ask people not to talk to the press. I think the press plays an important function in all of this. I'm just telling you that I have no doubt that this is having an impact on our ability to conduct national security operations because of the growing level of mistrust that must exist when you're in a room and you don't know where these notes or where these comments are going to wind them up in a newspaper in 48 hours. I mean, I imagine everyone's looking over their shoulder and wondering, who's doing this. So again, it's a very complicated situation, and we hope to bring some clarity to it in our work.
Senator Marco Rubio, thanks so much for your time on New Day.
Thank you. Thank you.